When my daughter's bully pushed me too far, I stopped taking my meds. After my daughter was brutally bullied, I posted online. I'm not pressing charges. No compensation needed. Kids have to go to school, life goes on. The internet tore me apart. Called me spineless, weak, a pathetic excuse for a father. But while they were typing their hate, I'd already quit my job, sold our house, and signed everything over to my wife in the divorce. Then I started waking up at 5 a.m. every day. Running. Weight training. Hours at the shooting range. Being a father isn't about words. It's about what you're willing to do. Chapter 1. I stood outside the ER, still unable to process that the bruised, unconscious person on the gurney was my daughter. Her skin was swollen and mottled with bruises. Cuts and welts covered her body. The doctor said the scars would last a lifetime. Looking at what they'd done to her, my heart shattered. All because she didn't say hi to Madison Hayes in the hallway. That was it. That was all it took for Madison and her crew to drag my Sophie into the bathroom and beat her unconscious. Now my daughter lay in the ER, fighting for her life. And the girls who did this? They were giggling in the hallway, making faces at us from behind their parents' backs. Hey mister, you can't blame us, Madison smirked, sticking out her tongue. Your daughter should have shown respect. Don't worry though, I won't touch her at school anymore. But after school? No promises. Not a hint of remorse in their smug faces. Even the cop looked disgusted. Parents, control your kids. Stop them from harassing the victim's family. Watching them coddle their daughters while mine fought to breath, it felt like someone was ripping my chest open. Their daughters were precious. Mine was apparently born to be their punching bag. Seeing my anger building, Principal Henderson stepped in with a frown. Please stay calm, Mr. Chen. Nobody wanted this to happen. The girls know they were wrong, and their parents are willing to cover medical expenses. That should be enough. No need to blow this out of proportion. I stared at him in disbelief. Did those words really just come from an educator's mouth? My daughter was brutalized, and me wanting justice made me unreasonable. What are you looking at? Am I wrong? They apologized. What more do you want? To destroy their lives? Can't you think about the bigger picture? The bigger picture? It was the most ridiculous thing I'd heard in 40 years. Then a man with a thick gold chain sneered at me. Look buddy, I know what this is about. You want a bigger payout, right? Just name your price. I've got money to burn. But if you want it, you'll publicly state that your daughter's injuries were from falling down. Nothing to do with our kids. When I stayed silent, his face darkened. Listen punk, don't push me. I'm being nice here. Accept reality, or I've got 1,000 ways to make your life hell. They say nice guys get walked on. But he didn't know the last person who talked to me like that was already dead. Chapter 2. When Sophie woke up, she immediately burrowed under the covers, trembling. Seeing her shake with terror broke me. Only when she heard my voice did she finally respond, poking her head out. Her little face was full of fear. She screamed and threw herself into my arms. Daddy, Mommy, I'm so scared. They all hurt me. I never want to go back to school. I'm so scared. I raised my hand to comfort her, but seeing the wounds covering her body, I felt like I was being stabbed. She hated pain so much. A paper cut would have her curled in my lap for comfort. During that hour of torture, how desperate and alone must she have felt? Daddy, you always said we get punished for doing wrong. What did I do? I really just forgot my glasses and didn't see her. I stroked her hair gently. You did nothing wrong. They did. And Daddy promises you people who do wrong things will pay for them. Sophie looked at me with teary eyes. Really, Daddy? I nodded firmly. Really? My wife Lauren held Sophie tight, her eyes full of heartbreak and helplessness. After finally getting Sophie to sleep, I went back to the police station. But their answer crushed my last hope. Turns out Madison Hayes was a serial bully. Her parents were both lawyers. They'd fabricated a mental illness diagnosis for their daughter, helping her escape consequences repeatedly. What kind of bullshit is this? Being young means you're above the law. Mental illness is a get-out-of-jail-free card? The officer sighed heavily, looking at me with sympathy. I'm sorry, brother. Our hands are tied. Best we can do is get you more compensation. If they act up again, call us immediately. So more kids would keep getting hurt. Just then, my phone buzzed. I clicked the notification. It was a video of Sophie being attacked. Chapter 3. In the video, Sophie was being choked, her face covered in bruises as she cried helplessly. Damn, you went too hard. Knocked her teeth out. How's she gonna play innocent now? Madison pointed the camera at Sophie's face for a close-up, then pulled out scissors and started cutting her hair, laughing. The video ended with them turning the camera around. Each girl had a foot on Sophie's body, flipping off the camera with grins. Lauren covered her mouth, tears falling on my hand. Her shaking hands couldn't bear to watch more. These monsters. I'll fight them to the death. I'll die before I let them get away with this. Lauren had completely broken down. But my mind went eerily calm. Back home, I went straight to the medicine cabinet and flushed every pill down the toilet. So a fake mental illness diagnosis lets you do whatever you want? What about someone with a real diagnosis? Without medication? I can't even control myself when I lose it. Chapter 4. Only Lauren knew this secret. As a kid, I was bullied too. Under constant torment, I developed severe bipolar disorder. The first episode, I stabbed every kid who bullied me with a pencil. The second episode, I butchered a rabid dog that bit me. The third episode, I killed a neighbor who tried to assault me. After that, they locked me in a psychiatric facility. I spent 10 years there before they let me out. Required to take medication for life. Even someone genuinely mentally ill, knew to take meds to control myself and not hurt others. But Madison, with her fake diagnosis, used it as a license to terrorize other kids. If normal justice couldn't avenge my daughter, then I'd return to the world of the abnormal. Chapter 5. I grabbed all my documents and drove Lauren straight to the courthouse. The whole time, she held my hand in silence. I chose to give her everything in the divorce. Custody of Sophie. The court clerk had never seen anything like it. They looked between us suspiciously, but after repeated attempts to reconcile us failed, they processed the papers. Whatever you're planning, I support you. Just one thing: don't hurt yourself. Sophie and I need you. After 15 years together, this woman remained my rock. Back home, Sophie limped over to bring me water. Looking at the scab still forming on her face, I held her tight. Sophie, I've arranged for you to take time off school. Tomorrow you and Mom are going to stay with Grandma for a while, okay? She looked down guiltily. I'm sorry, Daddy. I caused you trouble. It's okay, I can go back to class. I'll just avoid them. Despite her words, I saw the deep fear in her eyes. After much reassurance, she finally nodded carefully. Before putting them on the train, Sophie wore a hat and mask. Looking back reluctantly. Daddy, come get us soon. We'll miss you so much. Watching them disappear, I took a deep breath. Sophie, bad people do get what's coming to them. Daddy promises. Chapter 6. That day, I posted my divorce certificate and settlement agreement on social media. Starting today, back to my true self. The news that I divorced and given up everything exploded like a bomb among my friends. People who knew us messaged me, shocked. Why divorce? I had a sweet daughter, a loving wife. Everyone envied our family. But among the messages of sympathy, the fireworks emojis from Madison's parents, the Hayes family, stood out like a sore thumb. Madison sent me a private message too. Hey Mr. Chen, heard you lost everything in the divorce. Did your wife kick you out? How's life treating you? Good luck with the next marriage, and hope your daughter stays healthy. Oh, and better not let me see her again. My mental illness might act up, and I can't control myself. She included a photo of a rabbit, shaved bare and covered in wounds. Sophie's favorite animal was rabbits. Fighting down my rage, I posted again. This time, a diagnosis certificate for severe bipolar disorder. Stamped with the official seal of a major hospital. Day 1 off my meds. Suddenly having murderous thoughts. Funny thing, the hospital that stamped my real diagnosis was the same one that faked Madison's. Same doctor, too. Mr. Hayes immediately commented mockingly, faking mental illness documents is a felony. Trying to threaten us by pretending you're mentally ill? I ignored him and kept to my routine. 10-mile runs every morning. Shooting range. Combat training. I never pursued the bullying case again, as if it never happened. The parents celebrated, thinking they'd won. Life returned to normal. When I fired my last round at the range, the police called asking me to sign a settlement agreement. I refused. I didn't want compensation or reconciliation. The officer tried convincing me for ages before giving up and calling the parents. When they heard I refused to settle, they exploded. We already offered money. What more does he want? Just trying to extort more cash, right? Fine, I'm not paying a cent now. Let's see who blinks first. The teacher blamed me for making a mountain out of a molehill. If you keep making trouble, we'll have to expel your daughter. The school's reputation matters. People can't be so selfish. No wonder this happened to your daughter. No sense of community. How can she fit in? You know I got chewed out by the principal for an hour today. If you want to extort money, don't drag me down. I'm up for tenure this year. If that falls through, it's on you. Besides, it was just some hitting. Why so dramatic? I hung up, not wanting to hear more. Learning I wouldn't settle, Mr. Hayes called frantically. I'm a lawyer with connections everywhere. One phone call and I'll know everything about you. I'll get you cancelled online. I knew he had that power. So what? I blocked him. Across town, the Hayes sat in their mansion living room, staring at the red exclamation mark showing their messages. Wouldn't deliver. He grabbed his phone and dialed. I want everything on Jackson Chen. Soon his phone rang. Sir, got it. Jackson Chen divorced his wife 7 days ago, gave up all assets voluntarily. Quit his job the next day. Since then he's been doing weighted runs every morning and practicing at the shooting range. The voice hesitated before continuing. Also, this Jackson Chen killed 3 people before. Spent 10 years in a psychiatric hospital. Divorce? Quit? Shooting? Mental patient? The words made Hayes drop his water glass. He's really mentally ill. Chapter 7. Fear crept up his spine. His face beaded with sweat. As a lawyer, he knew exactly how the law treated mental illness. That's precisely why he'd faked his daughter's diagnosis. But he never imagined I was genuinely mentally ill. A killer who'd taken multiple lives. My social media posts about stopping meds, wanting to kill they flooded his mind. He realized I'd never been joking. With shaking hands, he forwarded my information to their parent group chat. The other parents lost it. What? Idiot picks a fight with a genuine psycho? They swarmed to my rental. One parent immediately bowed and apologized. It was all a misunderstanding. You're the bigger person here. Please forgive my daughter. I promised to discipline her properly. Others chimed in. Yes, we apologize too. We'll pay compensation. Name your price, we won't haggle. Sometimes reality is just that absurd. Too bad I'd been off my meds for a week. The Hayes couple hung back, watching. They probably figured I wouldn't let this go easily. They were right. If I cared about money, I would have settled already. I smiled. If apologies fixed everything, why would we need prisons? Chapter 8. The meeting ended badly. The Hayes were social media lawyer influencers. They decided to destroy me through public opinion. Mr. Hayes published a lengthy article on their platform. In it, my daughter Sophie transformed from victim to manipulative liar, while their daughter Madison became a kind soul who'd been deceived by Sophie's act. According to them, Madison had felt sorry for Sophie having no friends and included her in their group, only to discover Sophie was spreading lies about her and trying to seduce rich boys at school. When Madison cut her off, Sophie supposedly injured herself and blamed Madison's group. They claimed Lauren and I demanded $1 million in compensation. The article ended with a video of me at the hospital, red-eyed and looking murderous. Comments poured in attacking our family. Money-hungry parasites. Just because they're rich doesn't mean you can bleed them dry. Manipulative at such a young age. Obviously learned from the parents. And they claim bullying? They even posted Sophie's photo and our phone numbers. Righteous keyboard warriors flooded us with hate messages. Chapter 9. I laughed. I wasn't afraid of death. Why would I fear online harassment? I registered new accounts on every platform. First, I tagged the Hayes and other parents, stating I'd report their defamatory article to police. Then I filed formal complaints about Madison's bullying, the school's negligence, and the teacher's inaction, holding up my ID on camera. Commenters mocked me at first, calling me an attention seeker. Then everyone went silent. Because I posted the video Madison had sent me. I only blurred Sophie's face. Everyone else's ugly behavior was exposed. Every word crystal clear, including their names. I laid out the entire situation. Then made a statement. As a father, I refuse to settle. I don't want compensation. I know the law can't touch kids this age. But I wonder, does it apply to someone like me, who's mentally ill? The internet exploded. My followers jumped by hundreds of thousands. The response topped trending charts. By the time the Hayes tried to pay to suppress it was too late. Internet sleuths dug up Madison's previous bullying incidents. Parents of kids who transferred schools because of her came forward. My son accidentally knocked her book over. She damaged his hearing permanently. Her lawyer parents threatened to have us arrested if we made trouble. My daughter says nobody at school dares cross her. Sophie's mom is telling the truth. Public doubt grew louder, demanding the Hayes provide evidence. When police got involved, the Hayes had no choice but to delete their article. That move confirmed they'd been lying. Public opinion completely flipped. The people who'd supported them nearly crashed government complaint hotlines. Online condemnation grew fierce. The Hayes stayed deliberately silent, using silence to weather the storm, waiting for attention to die down. But I knew this wasn't over. Soon enough, they showed up at my door. Chapter 10. Are you done yet? We offered money. What more do you want? So what if my daughter bullied yours? I'll crack your skull open, you piece of shit. Pain exploded across my head, but I didn't dodge. I even smiled. This familiar sensation, it had been too long. You delete that video and announce you're dropping this, or I promise you'll end up worse than your daughter. Several large men with baseball bats surrounded me, pinning me down. They seemed to think violence would make me submit. Slamming my head against the wall. Blood dripped into my eyes. My vision went red. My heart pounded violently. Their laughter rang in my ears, making my head throb. So annoying. I twisted hard, breaking free effortlessly. Then wrapped my hand around one parent's throat. Watching his terror, I remembered. Oh right. This was Carl Peterson, whose daughter Emma had stuffed tissues in Sophie's mouth. I squeezed slightly. He desperately gasped for air. I spat accurately into his open mouth. When I let go, Carl frantically clawed at his throat. Vomiting, eyes full of disgust and fear. Then I turned to the others with a smile. They looked like they'd seen a ghost. They couldn't understand how someone who looked so weak could be so strong. Hee hee, bit rusty. Who's next? I looked at my trembling hands with excitement. I hadn't had this much fun beating someone since leaving the psychiatric hospital. Just as I was really getting into it, the police arrived. Nobody move. Hands on your heads. Who called this in? Me, officer. Thank God you're here. Arrest this psycho. He's not human. I looked at Hayes, now sporting a face like a pig's, confused. Crying and snotting everywhere, and he still had the balls to challenge me? He knew I wasn't afraid of cops. Chapter 11. At the station, the battered parents screamed about assault charges. Especially Hayes. I'm a lawyer. We came to apologize, but he attacked us without warning. This is felony assault. I demand a medical examination. Suddenly, a voice rang out. So what if my daughter bullied yours? I'll crack your skull open, you bitch. Everyone stared as I calmly explained it was my ringtone. I let it repeat 3 times before declining the spam call. The silence was deafening. Hayes looked like he'd swallowed a fly, lunging for my phone. I dodged. He face-planted spectacularly. Before he could argue, the officer handed him a medical record. This gentleman has severe mental illness. He wasn't consciously aware during the assault, so we can't pursue criminal charges. Besides, this was clearly mutual combat. If you insist on pressing charges, you'll all be detained for 48 hours too. The parents were speechless. Wait. He beat us up and gets away with it. What about medical bills? We're seriously injured. 20 grand minimum. The officer who'd helped me before looked at me sympathetically, then rubbed his forehead while I grinned. Sorry, I gave everything in the divorce. I've got less than $100 total. But I could burn some extra paper money for you at your funerals. That sent them into a rage. They tried to attack but were immediately pinned by officers. What kind of police are you? The law protects psychos like this? I looked them in the eye. Oh, doesn't it also protect those little monsters at your homes? As I left, I gave Hayes a meaningful look. Thanks to your daughter. Without her video, I couldn't have cleared this up. The temperature dropped to freezing. Everyone turned to stare at him. The others couldn't hold back, attacking him right in front of the police. This is all your fault. You said they were pushovers. Now I might lose my job. Yeah, you said this psycho family would be easy targets. You're taking full responsibility. Chapter 12. Every day after that, I showed up at the school gates like clockwork. Not saying a word, just staring at them with a creepy smile. Sometimes throwing little gifts over their fences at night. Sometimes snakes. Sometimes bones. Cameras caught me, but police couldn't do anything. The parents nearly had nervous breakdowns. Their righteous faces became twisted and ugly. Curses poured out like sewage, every word full of rage. After 2 weeks, they couldn't take it anymore. They showed up with gifts, begging for peace. Please, I'm begging you ancestor, stop coming around. I've got insomnia. Whatever you want, just name it. I noticed the Hayes weren't there. Of course, big shot lawyers too proud to bow. I smiled meaningfully. If you want me to leave you alone, someone has to take the fall. The parents exchanged glances, struggled briefly, then agreed. In front of Prophet, their fake unity crumbled. My daughter's usually so good. If she did this, someone must have influenced her. Under parental pressure, the kids unanimously pointed at Madison. She forced me. If I didn't do it, she'd beat me to death. I never wanted to hurt Sophie. All parents shifted blame to Madison's family, their sob stories more dramatic than the last. Things escalated. The Hayes got egged at work daily, their law firm vandalized with feces. Finally, the partners forced them out or face massive damages. Neighbors reported online that the Hayes took out their frustration on Madison at home. They beat that kid constantly. Especially now in winter, locking her outside, whipping her with belts. Karma, though such a sweet-looking girl doing those things. Soon after, Lauren messaged me from back home with Sophie. Honey, is this the Hayes? They're live streaming. I clicked the link. Sure enough. Mrs. Hayes looked haggard, nothing like the wealthy socialite she'd been. She was sobbing dramatically. I'm Madison's mother. Even though she's my daughter, after what she did, we have to do the right thing. Since childhood, she's caused trouble everywhere. She's even hit us countless times. We're at our wits' end. We apologize to all her victims and their families, especially Sophie's parents. We're sorry. On camera, they bowed deeply, playing the suffering parents perfectly. Behind them, Madison stared blankly, face sallow, no reaction to the camera. We've decided to send her to the state's best psychiatric facility for treatment, to prevent her from hurting anyone else. Whether she's born evil or made mistakes, we accept punishment. Please give us a chance to start over. Suddenly, hearing psychiatric facility, Madison exploded. She jumped up, grabbing her mother's hair, dragging her across the floor. I won't go. You gave birth to me, you owe me everything. You worthless bastards don't deserve to be my parents. Mr. Hayes fake cried, begging professional associations not to blacklist them. I have a sick daughter to care for. We're already suffering. Please give us a way to survive. Within 10 minutes, comments exploded. Some condemned Madison, others sympathized with her parents. Dirty tactics, but effective. Their reputation visibly improved. Poor parents. Sophie's mom went too far this time. It wasn't the parents who bullied. Now they've driven someone actually crazy. Happy now, victims? Takes 2 to tango. Ever consider your own role? Reading comments, I snorted. So many bleeding hearts. Where were these saints when the Hayes were being attacked? Next, the Hayes operation shocked everyone further. Having lost their jobs, they went all in live streaming their daughter's treatment. Under electric shocks, medication, and psychological torture, Madison's mental state deteriorated rapidly. Her parents became internet celebrities, streaming her suffering for donations, raking in cash. I didn't tell Sophie any of this. Didn't want her seeing this. Ugly family again. But unexpectedly, police soon notified us that Madison had disappeared. Her room was covered in the word hate written in blood, plus many names. Please be extremely careful. Chapter 13. After the call, my heart sank. I immediately called Lauren and Sophie. The phone rang twice and disconnected. My anxiety spiked. I called again. This time it went straight to voicemail. Something was wrong. Lauren never turned off her phone. Something had happened. Just as I reached for my phone to call 911, someone knocked insistently. "Mommy, are you home?" That was Sophie's voice. I almost doubted my ears. Opening the door, Lauren stood there with Sophie, looking rushed. "Are you okay, honey?" I got a call. And brought Sophie immediately. "We're family, you shouldn't face this alone." Sophie gripped my hand firmly. "Daddy, don't be scared. Mommy and I will stay with you." My heart warmed. Just as I started to speak, something flashed through my mind. "Call? What call? Isn't your phone off?" Lauren paused. "Didn't you have someone call saying the Hayes might retaliate and to turn off my phone? We were so worried, we bought tickets back immediately." My heart sank. "You were tricked. Quick, we need to go." Before I could finish, Madison burst through the door, covered in blood. Sophie retreated several steps in terror. She looked at us three, her once innocent face full of cold hatred. "Finally all here? Huh, you poor trash get to live so well while I'm a fugitive. It's all your fault. If not for you, I wouldn't be like this." I watched her calmly. This Madison looked nothing like the sweet teen she'd been. She looked like she'd crawled out of a bloodbath. "Once you're all dead, no one can bully me anymore." Huh. Lauren and I exchanged glances. Something wasn't right. All? Who else died? Madison clapped gleefully, her smile eerie and terrifying. "Emma Peterson, Ashley Chen, Mia Wong, Chloe Smith, and my parents. They're all dead." I stared at her in shock, goosebumps rising. "What did you say?" Madison looked at us, pulling out a knife. "My parents tortured me in that hospital for money, shocking me daily until I wanted to die. I begged and begged, but they wouldn't stop. So I had no choice. Good thing they didn't change the house codes. I snuck in at night and slit both their throats. Huh, beds full of blood. This is all theirs. And those 4 idiots I just acted pitiful and they felt sorry for me, came to my house. In the basement, I cut them apart piece by piece with this knife. When did I force them? Didn't they volunteer to be my followers? Hee hee, you should have seen their faces when they realized I'd tricked them. Pissed themselves. Served them right. I recorded it all and sent it to their parents. They should thank me for letting them see their daughter's final confessions." Madison rambled on, clearly unhinged, alternating between crying and laughing. But the knife in her hand and the vicious expression never changed. Sophie was pale with terror, clutching both our sleeves. Lauren looked at me seriously, signaling me to take Sophie and run. I shook my head, turning to the increasingly manic Madison. "You should run. Police will find you soon. This time, the law won't protect you." As expected, my words agitated her more. She pulled out a bottle, trying to open it. "Run? I'll kill you all. Fuck the law. I'm mentally ill. I'm not afraid." Seeing the familiar label, my mind went sharp. No wonder Madison found my place and killed so many. This military-grade sedative with strong hallucinogens in adults would be knocked out without warning. I rushed forward to stop her. The bottle's smell spread instantly. Lauren covered Sophie's nose and retreated. Timing it perfectly, I shed my jacket, lunged for the bottle, and pinned Madison. "What's happening? Why aren't you affected? Let me go. Bastard." Madison struggled desperately. When she exhausted herself, I kicked her down. What a joke. I'd been force-fed drugs daily in the psychiatric hospital. I was immune to this level. When police arrived, Madison was pinned beneath me, everything dumped from her pockets: cash, cards, and several bottles of drugs. During questioning, the officer gravely informed us that after receiving reports, they checked surveillance and found Madison had lured the girls to her family's mansion. Absolutely horrific. Her parents' carotid arteries were severed, blood sprayed to the ceiling. Madison destroyed all communication devices and locked the doors. Her parents bled out with no chance to call for help. The basement was worse, those children were butchered. Not one intact body. Parents vomited and wept holding the remains. Veteran officers couldn't handle it. Lauren and I looked at Sophie with relief. Thank God we'd stopped this. I couldn't imagine if something had happened to her. This sensational bullying case finally ended. Madison killed over 10 people, plus attempted murder of our family. She received the death penalty. This time, no one defended her. Lauren and I moved to a new city with Sophie. After several surgeries, Sophie's face healed well. Though faint scars remained, I believed she could face that experience bravely now. After work, Lauren and I held hands shopping for groceries. Sophie's teacher had just college scored advanced on placement tests and made it into the gifted program. Our family's future would only get better.